One and done. This time, we take on the Arizona Coyotes. If you missed the first episode of this series, that will be stepping in place of a traditional franchise mode series until the end of NHL 20. You can check that out. We, of course, ran with the Anaheim Ducks. In this series, we go alphabetically through every single NHL team. The goal is quite simple. Try to win a Stanley Cup in one season. No limitations beyond only being able to make 3 trades in the year. That way we don't completely destroy the roster right out of the gates. Now, a couple of comments earlier I wanted to get to, but the one I'll definitely make sure that I hit here. It was brought up. A fun fact, I had completely forgot about this. My good buddy Tactics HD, a tremendous channel you should subscribe to if you haven't already, did have a series that was essentially the same thing over a year ago at this point called Cup or Bust, which, you know, I feel like the exclusivity has probably been dropped after a year. And hey, at the end of the day, the worst someone's going to do is call me a Tactics copycat, which, hey, I already get accused of copying Johnny, so why not have Tactics join that illustrious list of people that I apparently copy. Regardless, and God forbid I start doing, team challenge videos like Tack already does. I love Tack. He's a great dude. It is what it is, but I did just want to point that out. I had completely forgotten about that series because, again, he hadn't ran it in over a year. That said, Arizona, our starting roster, it looks like this. Of course, we are using my custom roster as well, so some draft picks will be a little bit out of date. But in terms of the rosters and everything is completely set up, includes really everything up to the current day, or at least yesterday, where you had the likes of Carl Grundstrom and Watson re-signed by the LA Kings. But this is our team, really the best chemistry we can look to do here. A lot of these players don't fit the random head coach that we have been assigned, but we do have Phil Kessel, Derek Stepan, and Taylor Hall, Connor Garland, Vinny Hinostroza, Clayton Keller, Schmaltz, Soderberg, Dvorak, Fisher, Richardson, and Krause. It's a decent team, obviously, but nothing that I fully expect to just dominate and lead their way to a cup as it currently stands. Defensively, the chemistry isn't much better. Chychrun, OEL, Oosterle, Goligoski, Chalmerson, and Demers. Again, the chemistry and just the scheme fits for these guys. The line fits. It's not great. But in goal, Darcy Kemper and Antti Ranta. I'm hopeful that they can actually get the job done throughout this season. Fun fact, Taylor Hall, OEL, and Connor Garland, of all people, listed as a leader. You're damn right Connor Garland's a leader. I hope he continues to actually perform for the Coyotes in the coming seasons. One hell of a player, all things considered. That said, in terms of when we're going to look to make additions to this team, I want to sim the first month or two, see what happens, see who's available, see what adjustments we can make. Like I said, limiting it to just 3 moves in a season to try and put this team over the edge and into cup contention, it makes it so that we really do have to think about when is the right time to pull the trigger on a deal. What is the right deal for us in terms of who's available at a given time? So I do like that extra, added limitation, as we have not won a game through our first 4 of the season. We do end up beating Winnipeg, thank God. I guess we won't overreact to what's going on here so far. We still have a long way to go at this stage, and there you go. I mean, we've won 3 games in a row, so you can never really judge things too harshly off of the first month. We get a trade offer there for Eric Holla, which I'll decline. Hopefully I don't get spammed to too many trade offers. So 6, 5, and 1 through the opening month. I'm going to keep it together here through November. We're not going to rush any changes at this stage. Let's continue to see how this team can do. We'll give them that little bit of extra time and see how it goes from there in terms of really who could be moved on from, or who could move on from this team, and in terms of what gives us the best chance to win here. But we really are hanging in and around a 500 record right now, not where we want to be in the slightest for a team that has the goal of winning a Stanley Cup this season. Again, we only got 1 shot to do it. 2 more games in the month. We get crushed by Vegas And we do beat San Jose. So 12, 15, and 1. Obviously not the pace we want to be on, but we are currently battling for a wild card spot. 27 points to do so, but the Blackhawks do have 2 games at hand and a 2-point edge. So we're not totally out of the equation, which you would like to think so. I mean, we're only 28 games into it. We're not totally out of the mix here, but still, it could be a little bit better. Thing to note as well, of course, injuries are off for this, so that way we don't have to worry about too much line editing and such. Phil Kessel, despite being the sniper of the line, I mean, 26 points isn't that bad. It's pretty good. I'm just surprised by the goal total. Stepan's doing all right, and Taylor Hall's been great. Now, obviously, Stepan, not ideal to have him as your first-line center, but he's doing okay. Second line, Connor Garland on 13 points. That's okay. Only 10 for Vinny Hinostroza. Hinostroza's got to go. We need somebody better in that role. Keller on 18 points. It's not too bad. Can Stepan play the second line? He can. If we can get a first-line center and move Stepan down, that would be the move to make. Schmaltz, an okay 11 points, but this third line defensively is a bit questionable. Soderberg's all right. Dvorak. There's just something about that third line that's not getting the job done. Fourth line, I mean, Fisher's been okay. Richardson a bit meh. Krause, eh. The big thing is we need a number 1 center. And unfortunately, with the chemistry with this coach, it's not going to be Clayton Keller. Of course, he's been used on the wing more often than not. Jacob Chychrun has 37 penalty minutes already. Good God. Osterley's been all right. Goligoski's been great. Chychrun's been the big concern in terms of someone working with OEL. And the problem is he's not a scheme fit for this team either. I think we move on from Chychrun and Hinostroza, and hopefully we get to bring in a number 1 center, and maybe not a first pairing defenseman, but at least a defenseman of equal ability as Chychrun that hopefully just fits this team a little bit better, because that is a horrible, horrible situation. So right now we only see Urho Vakanainen. I mean, maybe not a number 1 center, but Backlund and Brody as a 1-2 punch could work. Backlund doesn't fit the team. Brody does, though. Damn. If only Backlund fit the team. Derek Ryan fits the team, but I don't think we want to run Derek Ryan as our top-line center, but he's actually been pretty good so far this year. I mean, Chychrun and Hinostroza for Brody and Ryan, that's on the table as a potential deal for us right now. Jonathan Toews fits the top 6. It would have to be 2 different trades, but Jonathan Toews also available right now. Something else to think about here. Again, that would force us into 2 different trades early on. Getting these kind of 2-for-1 trades certainly help out a lot. Tough to say how it's going to go down. Spurgeon and Koivu. I mean, again, Spurgeon just doesn't fit. It doesn't quite work. Let's see who else we have here. New Jersey not moving anybody yet. The Islanders only trying to shop Andrew Ladd. Greg McKegg. A lot of teams aren't looking to do business just yet. Pittsburgh, of course, trying to move P.O. Joseph. Ryan O'Reilly is available. Fits the second line, so not quite what we're looking for. I don't think we want top line center Tyler Bozak alongside Marco Scandella. It's, again, not quite the power move that we're looking for to boost this team up a little bit. So right now, I mean, we'd be looking at the Calgary deal, Ryan and Brody, or we go for Brody, and then we also look to bring in Jonathan Toews. But making 2 moves right now out of the gates, that is incredibly tough. And Chychrun, his value isn't quite where we'd want it to be either. So when you talk about who we have to trade away here, I mean, defensively, Victor Soderstrom is a big negotiating piece that we could use to try and lock down Toews here. For forwards, obviously, Barrett Hayton is the big move, who we could look to call up. He's already up to an 80 overall for the season down in the AHL with Tucson. We actually don't know how well he fits the team. It could be worth checking. But you see kind of the issues that we're having is that the Coyotes don't have really a ton of high-value players here. We do have our first-round picks to use and abuse, though. Jonathan Toews or Barrett Hayton? I mean, Toews is certainly ahead. We won't be able to see the long-term effects of Barrett Hayton on this team. I just don't know if I want to make that move. I wish Chicago was offering up a defenseman. How great would that be? You know what I think we're going to do here? We're going to pull the trigger on a move, and it's going to be Vinny Hinostroza on the way out. At the very least, we need to make that move, right? I think if we can pick up Hinostroza and Ryan, although cap-wise now it's a major concern, if we could pick up Hinostroza and Ryan, or move Hinostroza for Ryan and Brody, that'd be a good way to go. If I could also move Michael Grabner in the deal, who right now is a healthy scratch, that would be amazing too. If we could get this to go through, have Derek Ryan as a safety net, I wouldn't hate it, and then that way Brody's in the lineup, and we can test out Hayton instead of playing Derek Ryan and see how that works out for us. And if Barrett's not ready to go, then we look to make a move. How close is this deal to going through? I really would like to save Soderstrom for a different trade, so using first-round picks here is the way to go. And there we go. So we get that deal done with Calgary. TJ Brody is brought in alongside Derek Ryan. So a pretty decent trade for us here. Let's call up Barrett Hayton, and we'll be giving him a very good opportunity here if he's a scheme fit. If not, then we know that we're already making another move and that Derek Ryan is going to take over short term. But Barrett Hayton does fit this team pretty well. You could argue, just give him a chance on the second line. And to be honest, I mean, I'm definitely tempted. We keep the same chemistry. Right now he's listed as a two-way, which, I mean, why he wouldn't be a playmaker or a sniper, I have no idea. I guess that, his real-life style, but I think we'll leave him there. We'll see how he does. And like I said, Ryan, for the moment, how well does Derek Ryan fit in on this team? Really only on the top line. For the moment, Derek Ryan will be a healthy scratch until we know for sure what's going down. Chychrun is out. We know this for sure. We'll make that move there. TJ Brody, despite not being a DFD, is a much better fit. If we make Brody a DFD, he will give a +5 boost there, so there's really no reason not to just quickly make Brody a defensive defenseman. So that is the game plan there. So still very much have my eyes on Jonathan Toews, as nice as that would be. But, I mean, again, it's just perhaps a little bit, being a little bit too conservative with the moves, knowing that we only have 2 more now. Whew. So we'll see what happens here. Brody in. Again, we'll double check that we got the +5, and we'll take it from there. Squeaky Chair makes an appearance. You thought Squeaky Chair was gone? Well, it is, but we settle for Squeaky Chair at the girlfriend, so you know what we do? We got to do. Defensively, there you go. So we have that +5. So Barrett Hayton, pressure's on. You do well? Cool. You don't, you hopefully get traded for Jonathan Toews, as we look to bring a championship pedigree to the Coyotes. As we'll see what happens here throughout this month now with Barrett Hayton and TJ Brody on the team. So let's see here. And I mean, unfortunately, this was not the start we were looking for. Down to 15-9-1. Honestly, in a pretty weak Pacific Division at this point. So still not quite what we were hoping for here. I mean, 3 out of our last 4 games we've won. We get another win there against Vegas. We're crawling back towards 500, 21-21, essentially. So it's not too bad. Barrett Hayton. Let's see what we have here. Holy crap. Well, he doesn't have the point total that I want him to have, but good God, as if his value wasn't going to go up any higher. I mean, 8 points in 14 games isn't that bad. I'm going to swap him with Stepan. We're going to give this 1 more month. Kessel's numbers are looking... Well, then again, Stepan has 30 points in 42 games. It's tough to say we should pull him from that top line. 19 points for Garland. Keller's doing all right. Really, it's just we need that top center. That's the biggest thing that we need, is we need a legitimate top-line center. How have the goaltenders done? Because we haven't taken a look at them. It leaves a bit to be desired there, Kemper. But it's not horrible. If Barrett Hayton can just outright turn into our number one center, we're looking, to be in fantastic shape. Like I said, I think the issue here, we're going to give this a little bit more time. With Hayton, for some reason, just drastically going up in overall as he tends to do. I mean, we're already in January. We're going to be heading into the home stretch here towards the deadline where we still don't exactly know what we're going to be doing. I mean, not to spoil anything, but with Anaheim, some decisions were made a little bit more quickly than how this is happening to go down. So we'll see. I mean, again, we're still hanging in there at around 500. We've won 4 out of our last 5 games, which is very nice, and now 5 out of our last 6. So a strong end of the month here against Anaheim and Los Angeles would be fantastic. We're currently in a playoff spot right now. So there you go, 28-24-1. We are essentially 2 points clear of Edmonton. They have a game at hand. So, I mean, right now we're looking okay. It's looking like we could sneak our way into the playoffs at the very least. So, Phil Kessel, to take a look, 49 points in 53 games, very good. Barrett Hayton has 11 points in 25 games, and oh boy, I'm trying to get the old point pace down here, which is what, a 36-point pace, I do believe. He's not where we need him to be right now. He's not. So let's take a look at what's out there. If Jonathan Toews is still there, we make a move. And if somebody else is available that we could certainly use, we make a move. Again, we have him and Soderstrom to really work with in terms of bringing in a top-notch player. We'll see who's available here. So Backlund's still out there, but he didn't fit the team. Got Jake Bean up to a 76. So no Toews, but now Duncan Keith is available. He does not fit the team, however. Fair enough. So the Toews plan is now gone, at least for the moment. That option is gone. Edmonton looking to shop some young defense. Right now, in terms of major names, Spurgeon didn't fit the team. There's a severe lack of major names. However, with the assets that we have, we don't necessarily just have to trade for people who are on the block, but obviously now it's trying to maximize potential as best we can. Ryan O'Reilly fits that top line. I thought it said he fit the second line, but apparently now he fits the top line. Interesting. Maybe we go for Ryan O'Reilly here. The other option is to look for veterans of a high overall but low value. Those are the 2 moves right now that we can make. And if we look at a player like that, and we will go to the player search feature in order to do that. If we look at someone who is, say, 33 and up, who should have a reduced trade value despite being high overall. So I'm talking about someone like a Mark Giordano in terms of defensemen. I mean, top 2 defensemen, really good numbers, fits all pairings. Like Mark Giordano would be a really good value pickup. Ryan Suter, Duncan Keith. These guys would help out a lot. These are guys that we could acquire, again, for a relatively cheap price. Same for the forwards. I mean, granted, I don't think Bergeron or Ovi would be happening, nor Blake Wheeler, but Alex Radulov, Eric Stahl, Ryan Getzlaf, David Krejci. I mean, we can't afford it, but a Parise Suter sweep would be pretty nice. But looking here, there isn't really anybody right there that I'm overly confident in being amazing for us. Let me double check Ryan O'Reilly's status, because he might be the new number 1 center for your Arizona Coyotes. So O'Reilly, $7.5 million. He's having a really good offensive season. We're going to go for Ryan O'Reilly. And as a safety net, because why not? I want to maximize how much we can bring back in this trade. Tyler Bozak apparently fits the 4th line, and Marco Scandella fits all lines. This is a lot of money to try and bring in, I am well aware, but I want to see if we can get it done. So it would be Barrett Hayton in this deal, and then we'd still have Soderstrom and draft picks to use. Barrett Hayton would be going the other way, And we would probably... I mean, yeah, we'd look to give up Chychrun here as well. I mean, actually, hating it offsets. Maybe we go with Chychrun for the value, or for the cap with that contract. And someone like Jason Demers could be moved out here too. You have Lawson Krause, Osterley. Let's say we had Soderstrom here. So yeah, we'd still be in a little bit of cap trouble. And by a little bit, I mean $3 million worth. So the move would be probably to shop. It's kind of a tough call here. I mean, obviously Hayton's not making that much money. Derek Ryan's just kind of chilling. How's Brad Richardson doing? Richardson's been alright, but in theory, Bozak could be a better fit, but that's not a ton of money. Nor is Lawson Krause making that much money. I guess the move here could be... I mean, Kemper's not even making that much money. It's Ranta that's making a decent amount, and neither goalie's really making a run of it right now. Unfortunately, I think in terms of trying to maximize the value, we just simply can't do it because of the cap involved. Even then, with Ryan O'Reilly, I'm going to need them to retain a little bit of salary, and they might not be down to do it. There's a very good chance that they're not going to be down to do this. Where's the limit? There it is. So, I mean, $850K retained. Are they willing to take this deal? Yes, they are. So there we go. I mean, we give up Chychrun and Soderstrom, but we do pick up Ryan O'Reilly in the deal, our second trade. One more to go if we need to use it. So defensively, we move on from Chychrun. That's fine. Forward-wise, now it's 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. We need to see who the best fits are for the team at this stage. We know Barrett Hayton is going to be on the outside looking in here. So if we get Ryan O'Reilly in this spot, we've been debated, because of course we have. He's better for the second line. Stepan's not bad. Actually, who's better for the first line, O'Reilly or Stepan? Or are they about the same? Stepan's better. You know, wasn't expecting this, but that might be our second line right there. Stepan, did he fit the third line? He did, but this third line's been performing, right? Offensively, at least. Maybe Christian Dvorak on the fourth line's the way to go? Where is Derek Ryan? Yeah, Ryan only fits that first line. So if we look at the fourth line, Fisher's been okay, Richardson's been okay. To be honest, the fourth line hasn't been that bad. But the thought is, I mean, man, if we could move Christian Dvorak, that would be great. I mean, 20 points, but a -6. So I guess my thought here was, although Stepan's been solid, move him down and then take out Dvorak, as insane as that is, for Derek Ryan. And then that way, if we make one more move, we can use Dvorak's cap along with Barrett Hayton to get pretty much whoever we want. Because it's tough to say at Dvorak. I mean, what was the point total? 20? 20 points? I mean, I'd like to keep him for the fourth line, but like I said, it just kind of makes sense now because none of these guys make over $2 million. So I think we might give this a shot. Not that Derek Stepan deserves to be demoted to the third line, but that really does keep a good, well-rounded nature to the top 9 lines, to the top 3 lines with our top 9. So I could look to optimize this a little bit more in terms of player types, but I think for the moment, we'll sim 2 weeks ahead here, see what happens around the market. Derek Pouliot's on waivers. No reason to not claim him, really. Why not? I don't think he's going to have that much value, but we can make the most of it, as Eric Hall and Colton Skeevier are gone. For Caleb Jones in a second. That's a big win there for Florida. Good job to their new GM. Good stuff. So we'll see what happens here. Couple wins in a row. Hopefully we can keep that up. 4 wins in a row before it ends. We lose back-to-back. Still in a playoff spot, though. 41-win Caps team is up next. Very, very interesting. Let's see what we have here now, shall we? In terms of who's out there. I saw Yaroslav Halak on the market, but, I mean, if we can't win with these 2 goaltenders, who the hell are we going to win with? We have one more trade at our disposal. Question is, who will it be for? I'm hoping to see an elite player here. Otherwise, we use Barrett Hayton to go out and get said elite player. And obviously, again, cap could be a little bit of an issue, but maybe we do make that push for an Alex Ovechkin and Patrice Bergeron to really push this team over the edge. Alex Pietrangelo, you couldn't have been available a little bit sooner? Oh, thank God he doesn't fit the team. Imagine we pulled off O'Reilly and Pietrangelo in the same trade. How fantastic that would have been for us. I think we're going to have to make a move for one of those big-time players that isn't on the block, which is fine. Like I said, I feel like it is. It's gonna have to be an Ovi or a Bergeron. So we'll see what happens here. Big game against Washington that we lose. That's 3 straight losses. Islanders make it 4. Vlasic, Thornton in a third to Dallas for Ottinger. Jesus Christ, that's a horrible trade there for Dallas. As we've lost friggin' 5 in a row. I thought it was going to be 6. It might be 6. It is 6 in a row. We're back in a wild card spot. An awful run of form following the acquisition of Ryan O'Reilly. We have 1 trade left. It's worth looking around the league one more time just to save myself a headache of trying to go after someone who's not on the block. And again, we might get, the 2-for-1 value special here with some of these players like we did for Brody and Ryan. Cogliano, Jonathan Erickson, and you know what I said about value? Apparently not. I mean, Stahl, Spurgeon, Parise, Zuccarello, Stahl doesn't fit the team. None of them fit the team except for Zook, who we don't need as a top-line player. Jesper Bratt, the Brat, on the move, potentially. Ryan Strome, Matt Niskanen and Justin Braun. Pietrangelo again. So yeah, this is a tough spot to be in. Tyler Toffoli, Chris Tanev. We're gonna have to go for someone who, isn't currently being shopped by their team, which is fine. We should be able to make that work. Let's look at the team here. So Kessel, pretty damn good season, nearly at a point per game. Derek Ryan has 7 points in 12 games. Defensively, he's struggling a little bit. Taylor Hall with 55 points. So, a top-line center might still have to be in the works here. Connor Garland looking okay, but, clearly not ready for prime time as a second-line winger. O'Reilly on 53 points. He has 8 points in 12 games here. Keller's been fine. Schmaltz has been good. Stepan's been good. Soderberg's been fine. Fourth line's been solid. I think if we were to... we could bump up Stepan to the second line. But then that third line, we know Garland doesn't fit the third line. Derek Ryan doesn't really fit the third line either. And right now as a scratch is Barrett Hayton. We could give Hayton a shot. So it would be... Stepan back up to the second line. Try to get a top line center. Using Ryan, Garland, and Dvorak. And then Hayton plays the third line. But the original plan was to use Barrett Hayton in this trade. So, tough call. I haven't looked at the defense and the goaltending, but for the most part, they've been fine. I just think it's the biggest issue with the Coyotes, of course, is scoring. So, let's take a look here at what center really fits the bill for this team. Now, Eric Stahl, we know he doesn't exactly work. What about Patrice Bergeron? Bergie fits. It's got to be Bergeron here. If it's not Bergeron, we are looking at Paul Stastny. Bergeron, Stastny, Krejci, Pavelski. Fits the bottom 6. Got Dustin Brown in the top 6. As if Dallas needed any older players. We got to go for Patrice Bergeron here. I don't know if we can pull this off without Barrett Hayton. I don't think we can. So that's certainly interesting in terms of how the hell I'm even going to pull this trade off. I genuinely don't think I can. But again, the idea was to use Dvorak, Ryan, and Garland if we could. Boston would have too many players, so I'd have to take back anybody that I could in the deal, which would be like Alex Petrovich. I don't think I can get this deal done. I don't think I can get this deal done at all. Even with these first rounders, it's not going to even be close. It would have to be Barrett Hayton on the move. So it's someone I don't exactly want to get rid of. But between Dvorak, Ryan, and Garland, I mean, we got to make it work. And I can't see the chemistry from here, which is incredibly stupid. But if I'm not mistaken, Dvorak had the best chemistry outside of the top six. So Ryan and Garland would have to be the ones used in this deal. Like I said, I hate to say it, but Barrett Hayton would have to go. Arizona would be over the cap, so or we would be over the cap, so I'd need them to retain on Bergeron, which is where all that extra value will come through here. I'm just going to have them retain 50% on Bergeron if I can, because honestly, it's going to cause a lot of cap issues. But we move on from Garland, we move on from Ryan, who I don't think is good enough as a first-line option. Bergeron's going to be our last deal. I think he has to be. But like I said, unfortunately, Barrett Hayton has to be used in the deal, so we'll hold on to Christian Dvorak. That doesn't go through. We'll try the first rounders, and we'll see if Christian can make it work on this team. Will that go through? Yes, it will. Patrice Bergeron, welcome. Regrettably, welcome to the Arizona Coyotes. Did I make the right choice defensively for this team? To be honest, it looks like it. We have a solid defense. We probably don't have the best defense in the league, but we have a fairly solid defense here, which is really all you can hope for. No one's sent down automatically. So let's optimize this team as best we can and see where we happen to be. So no healthy scratches, right? Yeah, no healthy scratches. So the team is as it be. Fisher, Richardson, and Krause. Dvorak was not working on the third line. Could be, probably should be swapped for Lawson Krause. That is an option. Let's see here. Stepan fits anywhere in the middle. Soderberg's best on the third line. We know that for a fact. Let's see. Schmaltz can play anywhere. O'Reilly's best suited in the top six. Kessel obviously best suited, as well as Hall. Bergeron in the top six. Clayton Keller on the second line. So the only question there then is Schmaltz and Stepan. Who's going to play where? And I mean, Stepan gives that little bit of an extra boost. We know Schmaltz, Soderberg, Dvorak doesn't necessarily work, though. And then here, I guess it would have to be Kessel, Hall, Bergeron, O'Reilly, Keller, Schmaltz, Stepan, Soderberg, Krause, Fisher, Richardson, Dvorak. As insane of a lineup as that is, it's still pretty solid. I didn't expect Lawson Krause to be in a predominant role, but here we are, and it's happening. That is the team. Can we get a little bit more chemistry out of it? Probably. Is that going to help a ton? I mean, who's to say? You know, we could have gotten defense options that fit this team a little bit better, but nothing that's overly, it's overly concerning. So, I mean, the big additions, Bergeron, O'Reilly, and TJ Brody, really, that we've added to this team. Derek Ryan was a good short-term solution, or at least someone worth testing out, but obviously Brody was a big part of that deal. We're not in desperation mode yet. If we end up in desperation mode, I'll take the time to optimize the chemistry and hope for the best. That laziness to not just change it now could certainly come back to haunt me. I'm well aware. But we'll see how this goes here heading into the home stretch of the season. Again, right now we are in a wild card spot, so I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that we're going to be okay. 33, 32, and 2, though, is not ideal by any stretch. We will sim halfway through the month. Let's hope for the best. Is the addition of Patrice Bergeron going to be enough to push this team towards actually making the playoffs? We get a couple of wins here against some Canadian teams. Another game against Vancouver. We win that one as well. But you know how we were in third place in the division not that long ago? We have almost no shot of catching the Oilers as it stands, and we are currently not in a playoff spot. So we might not be able to make it. We are currently out on tiebreaker as the Minnesota Wild, same amount of points, but they have a game at hand on us at the moment. There really is no reason here why this team can't just get the job done, if we're being honest. Really, to tell you the truth, in terms of like, oh, how much of an importance is there on the chemistry? I mean, it helps, but I don't know how much it is going to help. We'll optimize this. I'll be back in a second. We got to do the best we can here after all. All right, the team is set. You get a look at the new line chemistries. We'll see if that's enough to push this team over the edge. Of course, defensively, it stays the same. We're locked in to that defense. The key here for us has to be goaltending. I mean, Kemper and Ranta, it's just not good enough. 7 wins and 21 appearances for Antti Ranta. We're just not going to win with our, solid, arguably the best 1-2 punch in terms of goaltending in the NHL, underperforming to this extent. So, I mean, here we go. The home stretch. We only have 8 games left in this season. We start things off against a poor Detroit Red Wings team, and if we can't pick up points here, we might actually miss the playoffs. We lose 5-4. We play an even worse LA team that has not won in their last 10 games. Thank God we beat them. It's Vegas next. Direct competition in this division. Currently the leaders right now, 79 points. It takes 80 to get into the playoffs. We're right there. But losing to a team like Detroit's unacceptable, but it helps when we can beat a team like the Golden Knights and knock them out of the number 1 spot, at least momentarily. And as it stands, we're in the playoffs. Nashville is next. It's a win. San Jose, horrible Sharks team. It's a win. The Coyotes on the verge of clinching a playoff spot. The only team that can steal it away is the Minnesota Wild, who can only finish with a maximum of 88 points. 2 wins, and we're in. Colorado, it's a W. Minnesota did win. 88-point max, so 1 win in our last 2 games seals the deal. Minnesota has to win their last 2. We play Vancouver, and the Arizona Coyotes are going to the playoffs. It didn't look like it up to a certain point, but we are going to make it, winning 8 of our last 10 games. It's a wild card spot. We'll be taking on Chicago in round 1. No, we won't. We actually had a worse record. We'll be taking on the Calgary Flames in round 1 with one of the lowest point totals, sub 100 points, but still the top team in the conference, the Eastern Conference. I mean, Toronto and Pittsburgh, Jesus. The Kasperi-Kapanen connection. Some insane numbers there. But all in all, again, we made it. We have a shot to get the job done here. So again, you see what happened around the league in the Central. Chicago, Dallas, Winnipeg, and Nashville making it. Again, Toronto, Boston, both tremendous records. And in the Metro, Pittsburgh and Washington also absolutely fantastic. So again, you see Calgary, 6th best in the league. Top team in the Western Conference, though. That's how unbelievably strong the East was this season. An incredibly one-sided sim here for Season 1. You get a look at the forwards. Bergeron led our team in points. He had 15 points in 17 games upon his acquisition. Kessel hit 31 goals. Hall was fantastic. Ryan O'Reilly, 23 points in 29 games as a Coyote. Schmaltz did pretty well upon getting boosted up to the second line. So pretty happy with those numbers. Defensively, OEL may have won the Norris. So certainly Troy Brody was a tremendous acquisition to work alongside Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Goaltending-wise, it's our biggest concern. It shouldn't be, but it is. What are we going to get from Kemper and Ranta? Time will tell. Kuznetsov, one of 4 players to get past the century mark. In terms of goal scorers, Ovechkin, though, with 56, takes home that trophy. Defensively, it's going to be Erik Karlsson who wins the Norris, actually. Respect to OEL, he wasn't even top 5 in scoring. Goal-scoring king here, Karlsson and Josi with 21 goals each. For the goaltenders, the winningest was Freddie Anderson, no surprise there. Shutout king, 11 for Devin Dubnyk. And in terms of save percentage, I mean, Leonard was great, Talbot was great. 70 games played, though, for Anderson. It's likely going to him in terms of the Vezina. And for the rookie race, Jack Hughes. Good old Jack Hughes. I think it's going to beat out Capo Caco here. Alex Turcotte was up there as well. Dominic Kubalik, too. So with that, we know we're going to the postseason. Let's get down to business. We know it's Calgary. So it's going to be the beginning of a long playoff journey. Or are we going to fall short here against the top team in the Western Conference? This is what they look like. Goodrow, Lindholm, Tkachuk, Backlund, Monahan, Grabner, Mangiapane, Hinostroza, Lucic, Jankowski, Bennett, Reeder. This could come back to haunt us. How did Grabner do upon him being traded there? Only 13 points and a minus 19. Jesus, he was horrible. What about Vinny Hinostroza? 24 points in 53 games, so Vinny did pretty well there. Defensively, it's Gio and Hanifin, Gustafsson, Hamonic, Forbert, and Anderson. Goaltender, big save Dave. Cam Talbot right behind him. Let's see what we can do. The beginning of a playoff journey. Here we go. Game 1. We'll quick sim this bad boy and see what happens. First period. Good start for the Oats. Dvorak and Kessel. Grabner scores. Because of course he did. It's 2-1. Second period, we double it up. Richardson and Fisher. Who needs the big names to get it done? I mean, 3 out of 4 goals from that bottom 6. From that fourth line. Tremendous stuff. And we hold on to win game 1. 40 shots, 26. 4-1 on the board. The fourth line getting it done. Kemper, great game. A hat trick of assists there for Oliver Ekman-Larsson. And a phenomenal start to this postseason run here for these Coyotes. See what happens, though, in Game 2. I mean, 1 win doesn't exactly mean much. But it was a very good start and one that was desperately needed. First period, Calgary, better start this time. Goodrow and Hanifin. Hall scored for us on the power play. Second period, we tie it. Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Quick sim of the third period, and the Coyotes take both games on the road to start this series. A clutch goal. Phil Kessel, with 2:11 remaining, wins the day. Taylor Hall, a fantastic performance. And this team continuing to roll forward. Good things happening right now for these Coyotes. Game 3, though, it could all turn around. As we all know, let's see how this goes down. First period, or not. Step on. Ekman-Larsson and Schmaltz getting it done. 2 goals for the former Ranger. It's 4-0. Although Calgary battles back. I believe they just had 4 shots in the first period. They did very well in the second. It's now 4-2. Lindholm and Backlund. A quick sim of the third period. They get 1, but it's not enough. Mark Giordano's power play tally was not enough to tie this one up. The Arizona Coyotes are a wagon. We are up 3-0 in this series as the 8th seed. Again, maybe a weaker 8th seed considering just 1 win separated us. But hot damn, we are on the verge of perhaps sweeping the number 1 seed. First period, Calgary strikes Mangiapane. Second period, goal apiece, Giordano. Hall gets us back into it. Third period, the Arizona Coyotes have swept the Calgary Flames. Christian Dvorak and who else? Patrice Bergeron seals the deal. That top line getting it done. The 8th seed, say what you want about them being a weaker number 1 seed, but the 8th seed sweeps the number 1 seed in Calgary. We are the first team and the only team to complete a sweep thus far. Winnipeg doesn't get the job done, so a fantastic accomplishment for this Coyotes team as we move on to round 2. We have an A- head coach there, which is pretty nice. We move on to round 2. I never even checked the coaching staff. I'm like, I'm just going to leave it be. We'll see what happens. Move on to the second round. It will be the Edmonton Oilers. We have to go through the Battle of Alberta in hopes to make it to the conference final, as you have Toronto, Florida, Pittsburgh, Carolina, Winnipeg, and Nashville as your other series. Let's see how this one's looking here against the Edmonton Oilers, shall we? It is Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid, and Zach Kassian. Second line of Andreas Athanasiou, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, and James Neal. Third line, Jujhar Khaira with Eric Holla and Alex Chiasson. And a fourth line of Tyler Ennis, O'Reilly Sheahan, and Josh Archibald, the former Yotes. Defensively, it's Darnell Nurse and Oscar Klefbom, Chris Russell with Adam Larson, and Ethan Bear with Matt Benning. The goaltender is Mikko Koskinen. Although hopefully Mike Smith gets an appearance or two, huh? Yamamoto, Skeever, and Nygaard as the healthy scratches at this point. So obviously, I mean, yeah, it's the Oilers. It's not necessarily going to be an easy series here. We'll see what happens. Let's get this one underway. Didn't check the overalls in the last series. Should have checked it in this one too, but what are you going to do? First period of Game 1, Ryan O'Reilly scores on the power play. Second period, they tie it up. Riley Sheahan actually scored a goal. Imagine that. And in the third period, we hold on to win. Hall scores. Nurse ties it up on the power play. Christian Dvorak on the fourth line has awoken. He is a fantastic player for this team now all of a sudden. Darcy Kemper gets it done, and the Coyotes continue to roll. Unbelievable winning streak that we have going here. Not only, of course, through the first 5 games of the playoffs, but at the end of the regular season as well. As you can see, it's a pretty close matchup indeed. Hall v. McDavid as the top players. Let's see what happens here in Game 2. Again, a long way to go in this series. Let's see what we can do. First period, we strike first. Jordan Oosterley, former Oiler. Second period, my goodness. 2 power play goals, 3 goals in total. But Schmaltz, OEL, and then OEL again. And in the third period, we add more. Good God, it was 5-0. A hat trick for Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Khaira, Draisaitl, Nurse, and Kassian make it 5-4. But Derek Stepan ices this one. Took our foot off the gas and nearly got caught. 6-4 victory, though, in Game 2. Oliver Ekman-Larsson with the first defensive hat trick I've seen in God knows how long in a sim. What a fantastic effort from him. Now leading this team in points and almost at a goal per game in the playoffs. We win again. We head to Game 3. Something special may be going on here with these Coyotes. First period, Edmonton strikes first, James Neal. Second period, we tie it up. 5 shots in the first, 14 in the second. Kessel and Goligoski scored on 2 of them. Nuge is able to tie it. Third period, we're going to overtime. Nurse and Klefbom, Kessel, and with 1:15 to go, Jordan Oosterley scores again. Overtime here for these Coyotes. Let's see what they can do. 3, 2, 1, and the Arizona Coyotes have a 3-0 series lead. St. Patrice does it again. Unbelievable. Still undefeated. Bergeron getting it done. Here we go. Game 4. Can we somehow, some way pull this off? First period, Edmonton strikes first again. Leon Draisaitl. Second period, we're down by 1. O'Reilly scores on the power play. McDavid equalizes tallies that and gives them back the lead. Neal scores, but Taylor Hall with a late goal. Are we forcing overtime? Are we completing the sweep, or will Edmonton see Game 5? And Game 5 is the response. The Oilers hand us our first loss of this postseason. The magic runs out, at least in terms of a comeback. Still have a 3-1 series lead, but again, our first L of this postseason. Our first L in a very, very long time. About a month's worth of play there. We'll see what happens now here. Game 5. Can we close this one out on our second opportunity? First period, again, Edmonton scores first with James Neal. Second period, and Edmonton is not done. McDavid and Halla, OEL scores. Third period, too little too late for Ryan O'Reilly. The Oilers are threatening here to end this run in heartbreaking fashion with back-to-back 3-2 losses. Out of pure desperation, I am going to throw Antti Raanta to the Wolves and see if he can come up big. Kemper's been solid, but now's the time for Raanta to steal this game, or otherwise he's going to get blown out, and we're going to see Game 7 and face a potential reverse sweep. Let's see how it goes. It's Ranta's time to steal a game. First period, we have the lead for the first time in a while. It's Patrice Bergeron. Second period, we're tied at 2 after Kessel scored on the power play. It's Chiasson and Neal. Third period, and the Arizona Coyotes have eliminated the Edmonton Oilers in 6. It's Lawson Krause who scores the winner less than a minute after Taylor Hall tied it against one of his former teams. The top line does it again. The Coyotes are going to the conference final to take on the winner of Nashville and Winnipeg in a Game 7 showdown. That result goes to the Jets. We will take on our third straight Canadian team here in this postseason. 8 wins down and 8 to go as you see the numbers here. Hall, Kessel, Bergeron, an absolute force for this team. We really do need the secondary scoring to show up a little bit more. Obviously, OEL has been fantastic. Demers and Hjalmarsson have been terrible. Raanta wasn't great, but he was good enough to get the win. Kemper will be back between the pipes here for the beginning of this series against the Jets. And to take a look here at the overall ratings, Tucson, by the way, still in it. It's the Kasperi Kapanen Bowl, Toronto and Pittsburgh in the Eastern Conference Final. Very close matchup where we just have the edge. We'll see whether or not that actually happens. Blake Wheeler taking on the team that drafted him, which is a very bizarre, random fact. And speaking of Wheeler, we'll take a look at he and the rest of the Jets here. Let's see what they're looking like. It is Kyle Connor, Mark Scheifele, and Blake Wheeler. Second line of Nick Ehlers with Brian Little and Patrick Laine. You have Cody Eakin next to Adam Lowry and Andrew Kopp. And a fourth line of Matthew Perreault, Jack Roslovich, and Gabriel Bourque. Defensively, Ron Hainsey and Neil Pionk. Okay. Josh Morrissey and Dylan DeMello. Dmitry Kulikov with Nathan Beaulieu. That defense is questionable. Goaltender Connor Hellebuck has been astounding and is the reason as to why they are here. Let's find out how this one goes down. Toronto takes Game 1 against Pittsburgh. How will Game 1 play out here? Coyotes and Jets. Let's find out. First period, Jets strike first. Kyle Connor with 43 seconds left. Second period is scoreless, and they're really caught up because we almost had them doubled up in shots in that first period. So, close game. Third period, we do score, but it's too little too late. Kessel beats Hellebuck with 27 seconds to go, but Matthew Perreault had scored at the start of the period, and that is horrifying. You go up against Hellebuck knowing he's been on fire, and you only score one goal. Very, very problematic for this team. The Tucson Roadrunners, by the way, in the conference final against the Grand Rapids Griffins. Of course, Detroit's affiliates. See, though, how Game 2 goes down here. First period, scoreless. Second period, not. Winnipeg scores 2, Perreault and Lowry. Third period, 4-1 is your final. The Winnipeg Jets, on the back of Connor Hellebuck, take a 2-0 series lead. And I can't help but think we are dead in the water here. 6-2 over the first 2 games. And Connor Hellebuck refuses to be beaten. Outright refuses. First period, scoreless. Second period, not scoreless. Kyle Connor gets a goal. Third period, we do force overtime, though. Wheeler made it 2-0 on the power play. Keller scores. Kessel ties it up on the man advantage. We go to overtime. Needless to say, we lose this one. We are toast. OT goes to the Jets. Cody Eakin gives Winnipeg a 3-0 series lead. And we are DEAD'd in the water. Oh, boy. Yep. I mean, I was going to say the Dale Hawerchuk Bowl, obviously, because of the connection, and then I just remembered, and now I'm sad. R.I.P. to a legend in Dale Hawerchuk. Jesus Christ. That's 2020 for you, when you're just like, oh, yeah, I forgot this horrible thing that happened, because there have been so many horrible things. That said, we're down 3-0. This is pretty much over. Let's see how it goes down. Can we stave off elimination? Let's find out. Here we go. First period, Winnipeg with 2, Ehlers and Perreault. Second period, scoreless. Third period, we tie it and force overtime. Ryan O'Reilly with 50 seconds left, his second goal of the period. And here we go. OT, the Winnipeg Jets, off the back of Mark Scheifele's overtime goal, has done it. Unbelievable. Such a strong start. Looked like this team had the capabilities of making it all the way, but we run into a red-hot Connor Hellebuyck. He sweeps us. The Jets move on. No play either Pittsburgh or Toronto. We scored just 6 goals in 4 games. The lack of secondary scoring and just outright running into a buzzsaw like Connor Hellebuyck. Hot damn. Hot damn. Woo. That is, damn. That just sucks, man. I was starting to believe in this team, and it looked like we were going to have the back-to-back sweep, and then, yeah, it just fell apart. Secondary scoring was not where we needed to be. Derek Stepan fell apart. So did Carl Soderberg. Those two disappeared in the playoffs. Soderberg did not score a single goal. The only player on our team to not score a goal in terms of the forwards. And then defensively, I mean, yeah, those pairings just didn't hold up. Ultimately, though, the problem is Kemper was just okay. And if you look at the Winnipeg Jets, Hellebuyck's save percentage went up in that series. We ran into a hot goalie. What can you say? Let's see who wins the cup. But we fall short here in Arizona, as frustrating as that is, but we put up a damn good fight. And in the cup final, it looks like it's going to be Toronto. We'll see whether or not it is ultimately Toronto or Winnipeg. And the Winnipeg Jets have won the Stanley Cup. So there you go. We lose to the eventual Cup winners. The Jets take it all against the Leafs in 7-all Canadian final. The Cup finally goes back for the first time since 1993. Unfortunately, we just could not make it. So again, that'll do it for this one. I thank you very much for watching. If you haven't seen it, of course, make sure to check out the Anaheim episode as well. And again, we're going to go through all 31 teams, maybe even a Seattle expansion. Let me know what you think about that one, if that's how we should cap this one off, or maybe how we work in Seattle alphabetically. Let me know what you think. But again, we fall short. On to the next one. It's Boston. Oh boy.